Alright, you want to be able to game and you've got a budget? Well, there may be some options out there for you. We're going to take a look at this maybe option here. This is the ACGAM suite of stuff here. We've got 3 different products here. We got a mouse pad, we got a mouse, and we got a keyboard. Well, excuse me. Yes, they all do have RGB, and you can turn the RGB on or off. So we'll cover all of it. I'm going to start with the keyboard because that's my favorite of the entire group here. This is the ACGAM AG109R, and it's a full-size keyboard with all kinds of different controls that we'll cover in just a second. But this features the Altimu blue switches. Now, the Altimu blue switches, in my opinion, feel better for typing than cherries. Heresy. People are freaking out. Fires in the street, cars turned over, riots, everything. Yes, they're way less expensive when compared to the cherries off the factory. They have this weird poppiness that I kind of like, and a lot of it depends on the build quality of the keyboard. They have a different sound than cherries slightly, but again, that's more of the internals of the keyboard. But I really like the way these feel. Now, they're rated for 50 million clicks. Now, on the top here, we have F9, F10 and 11 and F12. So this thing has built-in memory. F10 through 12 are going to be like an offline mode is what they call it, but that's where you can go in and have different macros for offline use, different profiles for offline use, and then F9 is online use when you're connected. I'm not sure why they call it offline and online, but that's when you can connect to your software. Guys, the software is actually pretty clean, easy to use. Got all your different modes and stuff here. Online mode, offline mode, you can set up your profiles for that, change your macros, lights, all kinds of different things. Now, your DIY backlight, being able to do that in here, please looking forward, yes. So just wait for that to come out, and then your macro controls over here. You guys can set up and record those in the software. Very freaking easy to use. As far as your other settings, the product dimensions 44.3 by 13.5 by 3.5. That's in centimeters. And it weighs 907 grams. Got a nice thick cable. And on the back here, we have lots of routing options for that cable, which I really like, plus some rubber feet you can flip out. You know, the build quality on this is like a solid 7 or 8 out of 10 for the price you're getting. You can go to their website and download the software. Or they've been nice enough to include it if you want to use this with your GameCube. So just go onto their website and download the software. So overall, the keyboard is decent. Let's cut over, take a look at some of the RGB modes and just functions of the keyboard. Media keys up here. I got your lock button here. Function in that will lock your Windows key. And then up here we've got different RGB modes. Change your colors, cycle through, rainbow mode, whatever. So lots of different modes here. Now, there's also some reactive modes over here. I'll show you that. This is like the trails mode. And then there's a full line. This one's fun. This one will actually just react to audio in the room. Oh! You can change the directions of the way things are going and that sort of thing. The brightness. Also, we have some macro buttons up here. So you got 3 of those. You can mess around with that in the software. Oh yeah, also I want to show you guys these switches, Altimu switches. I'll do a quick typing test right now. I'm not typing anything. Keyboard, I recommend it. Also, I forgot to mention full in key rollover on this thing. As far as the aesthetics go, that's up to you guys. Next off, let's move over and take a look at the mouse. That's the ACGAM G502. All right, so this mouse features the Avago 3050 sensor, and that's sort of a newer sensor that's out on the market. It's pretty flawless as long as you keep it under control. And what I mean by that is if you're moving it too fast, if you flick too fast, it's not as accurate as like the 3310 or the 3360. It's not as accurate as those. It's a much lower cost sensor. So if you're doing like really fast flicks or really fast motions, it can throw some errors. So just be aware of that. Otherwise, it's a really solid sensor for gaming. And they've got the settings on this one, 800, 1200, 1600, 2400, 3200, and 4000 out of the box. So you've got those 6 adjustable DPIs, and you can go into the software and select, any DPI for any of those levels, which makes it very easy to configure. You can mess with some macros as well if you'd like to. The overall ergonomics of it, it's got 2 different sides you can pop on and pop off, which is kind of a cool thing. If you want like a little thumb rest, you can do that. It's not as comfortable as I would like it to be for some reason. I don't know what it is about this. Maybe it's not made for big hands like mine. Maybe smaller hands would be better. With the side thing on there, it feels like I want more of a lip right there, because my thumb doesn't. I have to kind of grip it in order to make it work. So I actually liked it better with just the standard sides instead of the the little lip and the ring finger rest. But you can mix and match, do the ring finger rest with no lip, whatever you want. Let's check out the specs on this one. It's 12.1 by 7.3 by 4.10 centimeters, and it weighs 99.8 plus 10 for the cable grams. So cable here is braided. That might create a little bit of drag, but a lot of people out there want braided, so there you have it. That's 1.8 meters, and then on the bottom we have Teflon feet, polling ratio of 1,000 hertz, and we have 4 profiles that you can configure right on board. Omron switches, side buttons, I mean it's pretty standard. Now the scroll wheel is really smooth. It's like a flat piece of rubber wrapped around this thing. I don't have too many problems with that. My finger didn't slip off of it. It grips to the rubber. It just looks a little weird. You know, when you depress it, it feels fine. But as you're moving it around, a lot of rattle. I'm not sure what's going on there. I mean, you can't expect a mouse not to rattle. There's always some rattle, whether it's the lens or whatever. But as far as the overall build quality goes, it's not as good as I'd like. I mean, it's into that whole, like, you get what you pay for thing. The function of the mouse, the accuracy of the mouse, I mean, it's a 3050 sensor, so it feels pretty good. But overall build quality in this is not up to the standards of the keyboard. You could probably do better in this price range. But if you're on a super budget and just want a mouse that can get you in the game, let you play FPS, MOBAs, whatever, it's going to be decently accurate enough. Maybe not quite enough for a professional gamer, but those guys are maybe going to go out and buy a 3360 or a 3310. All right, let's move on to the mouse pad here, or the mouse mat. It's an RGB mouse mat, what everyone has always wanted. So this is the P09. This metal, guys. Metal, plastic, RGB. Metal up here on the top. First thing I noticed out of the box is, you know, they sent this to someone as a review unit, and the sticker on top here, this rough surface, this like hard rough surface, it wasn't adhered properly on there. Maybe shipping, maybe heat or something like that. But we got a bubble in here, so that's a bit strange. It's up here at the top, but still a bit weird. And also I noticed on the edges it wasn't like perfectly laid on there. So this is obviously done by hand, or if it's done by machine, it wasn't extremely accurate, but it's not perfect as far as like the surface on top of here goes. As far as changing your different RGB modes and colors and that sort of thing, there's a little fingerprint button right up here in the front. You just keep tapping that and it'll change through things. Am I tapping it? All right, so overall the stuff from ACGAM is pretty good, but that's about all I can say. The mouse and the mouse pad, and ACGAM, you guys can consider this some free R&D from gamers in the industry. They need a little bit of work. They need to be a little bit more solid, and I'm hoping for the price. I mean, I'm sure this was not too expensive in the factory, but I'm hoping for the price you get something slightly more solid. And I hope when you guys are putting these things together, you can just maybe have a little bit higher quality control. Now, the keyboard is a step in the right direction, and it's something I can recommend. So if you're looking for a keyboard that's blue, it's clicky, very satisfying to type on, satisfying to game on, at a good price, there you go. The keyboard is easy to recommend. These two are only if you're on an extreme budget, you know, still want to be able to play some games. All right, so there you guys have it. Checking out some budget stuff for you, and let me know what you guys think. Grab a t-shirt. I won't tolerate it if you don't grab a t-shirt. And just stay tuned to epicpants.com for some cool new stuff soon. So be sure to click the bell to stay up on what we're doing over here. Get all the latest videos. See you guys later. What are you looking at?